Hi everyone, Alinka and John here with our Here's the Question series. The question for today is the top most important advice you would give to someone in terms of a successful marriage.
The most important thing, work on yourself. Just work on yourself. If you focus on just the stuff that you gotta fix, and just focus on that, put your head down and focus on your stuff. And then by the time you finish, when you look up at her or him, they'll probably have been doing the same thing. In my experience,
It's so true.
when I focus more on me instead of focusing on what you're not doing right, we end up with a better result.
Yeah. Agree. And I know, like, I can't make you happy, you can't make me happy, which is so true. You have to figure it out for yourself. What are the things that are going to make you happy? What are the things that you want? You know, what is the type of life you want to live?
Yeah.
You have to know those things in order to even know what's truly a conflict, or not.
So what's yours?
It's very interesting to me that, we have these relationships with our spouses, but we're not very vulnerable with each other. Like, there's still so many things that we're holding on to or things that we don't want to share. And I feel like the spouse is where your level of vulnerability should be, like, the highest.
The most.
Yeah. It's like
more than anybody in the
right,
world.
right.
Absolutely.
And I think that was a big tip for me, just to say, I'm normally like, yeah, I share, but like I share within a level that I'm comfortable with. So then to say, okay, we're married and there's no, like, we share everything and we're committed.
Like,
and
that's the level. There's nothing closer than this.
yeah, there's nothing you can't say. Or share. And I think that's been something that we have been actively, like, that is real time,
growth,
actively
like
pushing
doing stuff
ourselves
to be better at that.
To say, well, why don't you tell me, talk to me more about it.
And I feel like that helps with honesty and all these other things, the communication, like just feeling safe enough to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
If I can be vulnerable with you, then I don't have to lie to you.
That's true.
Right? I don't have to assume things either. I can communicate because I know that we can be vulnerable with each other, we can disagree, we can agree, and come up with a good solution. And so I agree, your vulnerability, that really helps make everything make sense.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying, it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Right? It's like our marriage could be very different from your marriage. And I think everybody should assume their own rules. This idea that we're like, well, this is what marriage looks like, and so we need to all fit into that category. A successful marriage is defined by a successful marriage.
Find your rules that work
and make
for
it successful.
And
then
those
it's
rules
successful.
aren't necessarily associated with how you grew up.
Correct.
It's not necessarily associated with what your religion or even your social status.
Yeah.
Really find what's truly important for you and your spouse, if that's the highest priority in your life. I think a lot of it can be if you don't have aligning priorities. Like, if our family is my number one priority, but not yours, then there's always going to be always. Yeah. And so that's the first step, is like, okay, how do we align? But that even happens before you get married.
Yeah.
You got to peep that game when you're dating somebody.
That's so true, but it's so hard. I'm telling you, when
y'all be already dating to have fun instead of dating for life.
Yeah, it's true. Well, now, the older you get, it changes. I think we got married at 25, which I think is young from a maturity level. Like, I don't think I was very mature. And so my idea of marriage when I got married at 25 is very different than my idea of marriage today.
But my idea of a marriage was not very different.
What do you mean?
Like, my idea of marriage, how do you work it out? What's the day-to-day? Had no clue what was going on. But my idea of what a marriage looks like, a unit, a oneness, you know what I'm saying, just a forever, that is still the same for me. You know what I'm saying?
That's changed for me. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I had the right idea of what was a good marriage. Because you just see, again, one size does not fit all. So you could see someone else and say, oh, well, then marriage means you have to do these things. Like, I'm a West Indian, and I remember looking at my parents, and it's like, you have to have the food in the microwave waiting. You have to perform these things. You have to be, and I feel like for me, it was really freeing for us to redefine that within our relationship. And then I was like, okay, well, then it doesn't have to look like this. It could look like whatever we want it to look like. And that made it really exciting. And I think this is through trial and error.
Yep.
I will say that it's not like, oh, we woke up one day in our age and we knew all of this. It's like, yeah, you know, we've got into fights, arguments. I mean, things have, like, we're not perfect, but I think what makes our marriage work is that we acknowledge that we're not perfect, and we're both willing and committed to make it better.
Yeah, solving the problem.
Like, let's just make it better.
Like, if our goal is the same, that's all we need.
Yeah.
Like, we have the same goal. Okay, so then everything else is details.
Yeah.
It's like work. Okay, what are we trying to do? Well, then let's focus on that.
So you got some marriage advice, also a bunch of other extra things that we decided just to share with you.
It just is what it is. This is how it went for us. Good luck for y'all.
Yeah. No, we wish you the best.
Just figure it out. It's on you.
We wish you the best in your marriage journey. And
I don't care.
I think it's just like one size doesn't fit all, and you have to create your own rules within your marriage.
Yeah, I think that.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? If you have another question for us, please put it in the comment section or message us, and we will feature it on our next Here's a Question series. I hope you enjoyed. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.